All right. Hi, Margaret.
Hello.
Thank you very much for volunteering to have this exercise with me. As I have told you before, this exercise is for educational purposes, as it's a part of a course of Toronto Art Therapy Institute, and the course is Counseling in Art Therapy. So that particular video will be viewed by students in this course as well as a professor who teaches it. Okay, so you're okay with that?
Yes.
I also would like to mention that if you feel uncomfortable at any point, or is there any questions that you don't want to answer, feel free to interrupt and stop me.
Sure.
Okay? So, as you were asked to look around and chose some object and see if you have any interest in talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your choice?
My choice was the piano.
All right, so it's a musical instrument, and what interest do you have in it, and what association do you have with piano?
I have a positive association with piano because I like music, and I took lessons as a child, and when I was taking those lessons, it brought good and bad memories. Bad memories of practicing the piano that I got frustrated with, and also good memories because I used to go to these lessons with my mom, and it was time spent with my mom. So a little of the musical aspect, but also good memories with my mom.
Well, that's wonderful. Tell me more about it. When did you start learning piano?
I was 12 years old, and I believe I took it for about 2 or 3 years.
And how did you do?
I got up to grade 5, but I haven't taken lessons since. So a little bit of regret in not furthering it, but glad that I took it enough so that I can play simple music.
So you did 5th grade, that's quite a couple of years. How many years did you study?
Just 2 or 3 years.
Oh,
They
yeah.
fast-tracked me because
All right.
I started...
Oh, you sound very
when I was
talented,
12.
fast tracking.
Not so much.
Well, all right. You mentioned your mom took you to your lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about your experience with being encouraged, I guess, by your mom, being involved in your musical education.
There were good memories because it was just the two of us going back and forth from the lessons. And also she did encourage me, she pushed me, but then, as I said, after about 2 or 3 years, when I just got so frustrated with me, or so frustrated with the practices, and actually thinking back now, that I didn't like the teacher. So, but then she let me quit. So, but I wish I had persevered.
So, if you would have a chance to change anything, how would you do it?
I think I would have continued with the lessons and just gotten over the frustrations with the practices.
So you have mentioned your frustration. Was it solely because of your practice, or was it some influence of your parental expectations?
No, my parents didn't really have too high of expectations from me in terms of piano abilities, but I think it was just the discipline of having to practice regularly, and also, as I said, the teacher. Thinking back now, I didn't like the teacher. She was just really hard. She was really harsh.
So it's your personal choice after a while to quit the lessons.
Yeah.
How you've mentioned that your daughter now is taking music lessons, and she's also experienced the same frustration. How do you feel your frustrations is transferred to her experience right now?
She gets frustrated quite easily, even if she can't do something the way she wants to do it, or if it doesn't work out, she gets easily frustrated, and I just want her to learn to not be so upset with it and just focus and be objective. My frustration with her is not so much that there's a little bit of she's not practicing enough, so I get frustrated with her, but then my frustration with her is how easily she gets frustrated. So it's
a continuation process, but you must understand how she feels.
Oh, yes.
Since you've been there.
Yes. But,
and how does it help you in helping her?
I'll walk away. I'll say, this isn't working, and I will just walk away and let her process it and let her deal with it, instead of sitting there and just yelling at her, I'll just walk away and say, okay, you deal with it.
So it gets to that point that you really get frustrated with
Yeah.
it. So you mentioned that your mom let you quit for after some time. Taking her as a role model, if she is, what would you do? Or what do you want to do different? How are you going to approach different with your daughter?
I think I would maybe, I hate to use the word force, but I would strongly advise my daughter to continue a little longer than I did. I think I was too young to really recognize how valuable those piano lessons were. So I would say, okay, do it up to a certain age, and then after that you can quit. But make sure she's a little bit older than how old I was when I quit.
So you see the value of your experience in music and music education. Now, after you resigned, or taking your experience in general, what did you learn about yourself?
What did I learn about myself? I learned that I should have persevered. That I regret not having persevered and continued with it, because I enjoy music and I'm good enough to play simple music, but not quite good enough to play music, let's say at church or something, where it would have been helpful.
Never too late to start.
Never too late, indeed.
That's wonderful. So, getting to the end of our small discussion, the word piano, or just an musical instrument, when you look at it, when you think of it, what does it bring in you?
It brings positive sentiments and emotions. I like music. I like to play sometimes, not a lot, but and yeah, I think it was a good experience overall in my childhood. So I'm glad that I went through that whole process, and I hope that my kids have an appreciation of music as well, and especially the piano.
Sounds wonderful. Thanks so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
It was a very short session, and now what I would like to ask you to do is sort of give me a feedback and talk about how did you feel opening up and talking about your past experiences and present emotions.
It was relaxing. I didn't feel I didn't think the questions were too probing or intrusive. It was easy to think back to my childhood, and it was easy to talk about my experiences and the past.
Well, we're going to switch places for the next video, but
Okay.
for now, what I can say about my role is, first of all, you've been a wonderful client, so thank you again. Just because we know each other, I think that facilitates our communication, and we're able to joke, and my style is not necessarily adjusted to you personally, again, our familiarity between us, but usually as a therapist, I think it's important to be very sensitive to needs of your client, and listen to little clues that your client gives you about your approach and how deep you can probe and everything like that. So again, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And we'll switch again.
Okay.